Have you ever felt like you're working hard, earning money, but it just seems to vanish, leaving your purse feeling a little, well, leave.
Yeah, like you're putting in the hours, but the wallet's always kind of empty at the end of the month.
Exactly. Like you're constantly chasing it, but it's always just out of reach.
It's a feeling that's, well, it's as old as money itself, isn't it? A really persistent challenge.
It absolutely is. And that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
We're looking at some ancient wisdom from Babylon, which was once, the richest city around.
Right.
Our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack these old secrets and see what they can teach you, the modern learner, about really acquiring wealth, keeping it, and, importantly, making your money earn more money for you.
And our source for this is, it's a real classic, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason.
Ah, yes, I know that one.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, okay, it was written back in the 1920s.
Right.
But the ideas, they claim they're just as good today as they were like 6,000 years ago in Babylon itself.
6,000 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. The book uses these stories, these parables, to get the points across. And the big promise is that, well, money is plentiful for anyone who just gets these simple laws.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? Imagine ancient Babylon. A massive city, super wealthy, amazing buildings.
Right. The height of civilization, then.
But even there, you've got guys like Bansir, the chariot builder, and Kobe, the musician. Hard workers. Good at what they do.
Skilled craftsmen, yeah.
But after years of work, their purses are still empty. It's that same struggle we feel today, isn't it?
Absolutely. It shows that just working hard isn't always the whole story. You have to understand the rules of money, how to create it and keep it.
So what was their big realization?
Well, they figured out they'd focused entirely on getting good at their crafts. They'd never actually sought wealth itself. They hadn't tried to learn how that works.
Oh, okay. So they went looking for advice.
They did. They went to Arkad, who was known as the richest man in Babylon.
And was he, born rich?
No.
Inherited it all?
No, that's the interesting part. He started poor, just a regular guy.
Really?
Yeah. He got wealthy because he learned and actually applied these laws of wealth, as he called them. He even told his friends, stop blaming fickle fate. Everyone has the same amount of time to work with.
So what was his big secret then? The foundational advice?
It was incredibly simple, almost deceptively so. He told his first apprentice and later his friends this: a part of all I earn is mine to keep.
Okay. Keep a part of it. Sounds straightforward.
It is. He just put aside 1/10, 10%, consistently.
And what happened? Did he struggle?
That's the key. He said he found he was no shorter of funds than before. He adjusted, and that simple act, saving that 10th, that was the absolute first step, the way to fatten thy purse, as the book puts it.
That's a really crucial point. It's not just about earning, it's about keeping. Why is that so hard for us, though?
Well, it's a mindset shift, isn't it? From just being a consumer to being an owner, a saver. You're basically paying your future self first.
Right, the delaying gratification.
Exactly, building that foundation. And, this idea was so powerful that King Sargon actually asked Arkad to teach everyone in the city how to get wealthy, because too much gold was ending up with just a few people.
Wow, the king himself. So what did Arkad do?
He taught a class, basically, to 100 citizens in the Temple of Learning, and he laid out what he called the 7 cures for a lean purse.
Okay, 7 cures. Let's break them down. Cure number 1 must be that saving thing again, right?
You got it. Cure 1, start thy purse to fattening. Same core idea. For every 10 coins thou placest in thy purse, take out for use but 9. Save at least that 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Arkad even noticed, he said, gold seems to come more easily to people who save. Like, it avoids purses that are always empty.
Interesting observation. So save 10%, then what? That leads to cure 2.
Yep. Cure 2, control thy expenditures. This is where the budget comes in.
Ah, the dreaded B word. I bet someone objected.
Someone did, called it the slavery of a budget.
Ah, knew it.
But Arkad had a great comeback. He said, look, you decide the budget. It's not slavery. Its real job is just to show you the leaks from thy purse.
The leaks. Okay.
So you can cover your necessities, enjoy some things, have worthwhile desires, but without spending more than that 9/10 you have left after saving.
So it's about being intentional, not just cutting everything out.
Yeah.
Making conscious choices.
Precisely. Not deprivation, but conscious allocation, knowing where your money is actually going.
Okay, that makes sense. But how, especially when rent, food, the basics just seem to eat up so much.
Yeah.
Did he give any practical tips?
He stressed that desires are infinite, right? If you don't control them, they'll always grow faster than your income.
True.
So the trick is separating needs from wants. Write it down. What's essential versus what's just a desire. Then you can consciously direct that 9/10.
Got it. So save 10%, control the other 90. What's cure 3?
Cure 3. Make thy gold multiply.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've saved some gold. Great start. But now it needs to work for you. It needs to labor and increase. This is all about investing.
Investing, right. But that sounds risky. Even back then, I bet there were scams.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us neatly to cure 4. Guard thy treasures from loss.
Okay. Protect your capital. Makes sense.
And Arkad learned this the hard way. He tells this story, calls it a personal tragedy. He gave his first year's savings to Asmor, a brickmaker.
A brickmaker. To invest.
Yeah, Asmor was going on a trip and promised to buy valuable jewels from Phoenician traders.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this.
You should. Asmor came back with worthless bits of glass. The Phoenicians were, scoundrels, as Arkad put it.
Ouch. So what was the lesson there?
A very clear one. If you would have advice about jewels, go to the jewel merchant, not the brickmaker.
Right. Stick to experts in the field.
Exactly. Invest only where your principal is safe, where you can get it back, and where it earns a fair return. And crucially, consult wise, experienced people in that specific area.
That's timeless advice. Don't just trust anyone. Do your homework. Okay, what's cure 5?
Cure 5 is interesting. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Basically, own your own home.
Home ownership, even in Babylon.
Yep. Arkad pointed out the benefits. You have your own plot of land, maybe grow some food like figs or grapes.
Nice.
It builds confidence, he said. It lowers your living costs over time, which frees up more of your earnings for, pleasures or other investments. And apparently, land wasn't outrageously expensive within the city walls back then.
So the principle is investing in productive assets, reducing long-term expenses.
Exactly. Building equity, which flows into cure 6. Ensure a future income. This is about planning ahead. For retirement, for taking care of your family if something happens to you.
Like modern insurance or retirement accounts.
Pretty much. Arkad actually talked about a plan to insure against death, where people paid in small amounts regularly and it built up into a decent sum for the family later. Very forward-thinking.
It really is amazing how these ideas echo today. But is there anything about now, our modern world, that makes this stuff harder or maybe even more critical?
I think the sheer noise makes it harder, the constant advertising, the endless options for spending.
Yeah, distractions everywhere.
Exactly. Temptations were fewer in Babylon, which makes the final cure, cure 7, maybe the most important. Increase thy ability to earn.
Invest in yourself.
Right. Keep learning, get better skills, become wiser, increase your own earning power, because you are your biggest asset.
So, the 7 cures give us this solid foundation. Save, control spending, invest wisely, protect capital, own assets, plan for the future, and improve yourself. Powerful stuff.
Very powerful, but knowing the rules isn't the same as living by them, is it?
No, definitely not.
And that's where the book introduces another layer. The 5 laws of gold, shared by a camel trader named Kalabab, who heard them from Arkad's own son, Nomasir.
Arkad's son, did he follow the rules?
Well, not at first. It's quite the story.
Who?
Arkad gave Nomasir a bag of gold and a clay tablet with these 5 laws on it, challenged him to go out and prove he could handle wealth.
And
Let me guess.
disaster.
Pretty much. Nomasir, full of youthful confidence, blew the gold almost immediately. Bad investments, bought a racehorse that lost, got into a dodgy partnership.
Oh, man. Learning the hard way. We've all been there. Maybe not with a bag of gold, but yeah.
It's totally relatable. His mistakes perfectly illustrate the laws he ignored. Law 1 is basically cure 1 again. Gold cometh gladly to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings. Save consistently, and wealth tends to find you.
Okay, saving attracts more wealth. Law 2.
Gold laboreth diligently for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment. Basically, make your money work for you, put it to work so it grows. Compound interest, essentially.
Right, the magic of compounding. And Law 3.
Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling. This echoes cure 4, get expert advice, be careful. Directly contradicts Nomasir buying that horse.
Yes. Okay, Law 4 must relate to his other mistake then.
Spot on. Law 4. Gold slippeth away from man investing in businesses he's unfamiliar with or not approved by wise men. Don't invest in things you don't understand and listen to experts. Another lesson Nomasir learned painfully.
And Law 5.
Law 5 is crucial today. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment.
Get-rich-quick schemes, basically. Shiny objects, following the hype.
Exactly. Avoid unrealistic returns, scams, and letting emotions or just pure hope drive your investment decisions.
So no Monsieur failed initially, but did he turn it around?
Thankfully, yes. After losing it all, he actually started applying Law 1. He saved his small earnings, worked hard, learned from his mistakes, and eventually went back to his father. He'd earned back the original amount, but more importantly, he'd gained the wisdom. He proved he got it.
That's a great redemption story. It shows it's about application, not just knowing.
Absolutely. And the book doesn't just focus on getting rich, it also tackles overcoming common problems like procrastination and debt.
Ah, okay. What's the Babylonian take on good luck?
Arcad was clear. Real luck isn't found at the gambling tables or races the odds are against you there. True opportunity, or good luck, comes from consistent effort in your work, in honest business, putting yourself in the path of opportunity repeatedly.
Makes sense. Create your own luck through action. What about procrastination?
Yeah.
That killer of dreams.
Yes, Arcad definitely saw it as an enemy. There's a story of a merchant realizing procrastination was like a thief, stealing his opportunities, his time, his customers.
Yeah, I can see that.
Arcad totally agreed, said no one achieves real success until they crush that tendency to delay. You have to act decisively.
And debt. That's a huge one for so many people.
Huge. And the book has an amazing story for that. Dabasir, the camel trader, he started as a saddle maker, but he got caught in that spiral, spending more than he earned, borrowing from friends, getting chased by creditors.
Stressful.
So stressful he actually fled Babylon and ended up a slave in Syria.
Wow, from craftsman to slave because of debt.
Yeah, he said it was like looking at the world through a colored stone. Everything was distorted by his money worries and his pride.
That's a powerful image. How did he get out?
It was actually his mistress, Sira, who challenged him, called him out, said he had the soul of a slave because he ran from his problems instead of fighting them.
Oof. Harsh, but maybe necessary.
It seemed to work. It sparked something in him. He sat down and made a plan, wrote it on clay tablets.
A plan. What was it?
Super clear. 3 parts. 1, live on 70%, 7/10 of what you earn.
Okay, 70% for living.
2, use 20%, 2/10 to pay back your creditors. Divide it up honorably and fairly among them.
20% for debt repayments. That leaves.
The last 10%, 1/10, that was for him to save, to build his own future wealth, starting right away.
So 70-20-10, live, pay debts, save. Simple.
Simple but powerful, and the key was he stuck to it.
Even with difficult creditors.
Yep. Some, like his landlord Alcahad, were tough. Others, like Amar and Birijik, were surprisingly supportive once they saw he had a real plan and was making payments.
And it worked.
Over time, absolutely. He paid off every debt, he built up his own savings, he became a respected camel trader. And what's wild is Clason includes this letter in the book from a Professor Caldwell in England, decades later, saying this exact 70-20-10 plan was working wonders for college folks steep in debt over there. It's just timeless.
That's incredible. 70% living, 20% debt, 10% saving. Why does that simple formula work so well, do you think?
I think it imposes discipline. It gives every coin a job. It tackles the debt directly, but also builds hope by starting savings immediately. It removes the paralysis,
Yeah, gives you a clear path. Dabasir himself said the plan made an honorable man of an ex-slave, gave him back his independence.
Exactly. Structure can be liberating.
So beyond the mechanics of money, there's this strong theme of personal responsibility, discipline, and the value of work itself, right?
Absolutely. There's another great story about Sharunada. He started as a slave, too.
Another one?
Yes, but he became a really wealthy merchant. He had this grandson, Hadan Gula, who was just lazy, thought work was beneath him, only for slaves.
The entitled grandchild.
Totally. So Sharunada tells him his own story, how, as a slave selling cakes, he learned from an old farmer, Megiddo, that work makes him a better man. It wasn't just about survival, it was about character.
Interesting perspective.
And Sharunada took it to heart. He worked diligently, saved every penny he could, and eventually bought his freedom. Even Hadan Gula's own grandfather had apparently recognized Sharunada's fine enterprise back then.
And slavery in Babylon was different, wasn't it? Not quite like other forms.
It was complex, yeah. Legally, slaves could own property, run businesses, even partner with their masters or marry non-slaves. So Sharonada could save and buy his freedom within that system. It makes his discipline even more impressive.
Did things always go smoothly for him after that?
No, actually. He got re-enslaved later. His new master gambled everything away, and Sharonada ended up doing brutal labor on the Grand Canal.
Oh, wow. Talk about setbacks.
Right. It just reinforces that warning about debt, gambling, risky behavior. But even then, his willingness to work hard eventually led to another opportunity.
So what was the impact on the grandson, Hadan Gula?
It was a huge aha moment for him. He realized work attracted his many friends, brought him the honors, and I thought work was fit only for slaves. He finally got it. Work builds character, attracts opportunity, creates value. It's not just something you have to do.
That connects back to the city itself, doesn't it? Babylon wasn't just rich by chance.
Not at all. It was a marvel of human effort. Massive irrigation, drainage, those incredible walls.
Yeah, the walls were legendary.
Supposedly 160 feet high, miles long, never breached by force, built entirely by human ingenuity and hard work, not just sitting on natural resources.
But it did eventually fall.
It did, not by direct attack, but the book suggests it crumbled when the energizing human forces that drive that work ethic faded away.
So the physical city declined.
But the wisdom, the stuff written on those clay tablets, the principles Arkad taught, that's what lasted. That's what we're still talking about.
Which brings us nicely to wrapping up this deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground, from ancient Babylon to, well, potentially your own finances today. So let's just quickly recap those core lessons. What are the big takeaways from Babylon?
Okay, boiling it down. Save first. Always save at least 1/10 of everything you earn.
Right. Pay yourself first.
Control your spending. Know where the other 9/10 is going. Budgeting isn't slavery, it's control.
Make your money work for you. Invest it wisely.
Protect that invested money. Don't take foolish risks. Get advice from people who actually know what they're doing.
Got it.
Consider owning productive assets like your home to reduce long-term costs and build equity.
Plan for the future. Ensure against setbacks. Prepare for later life.
Keep learning. Increase your own skills, your ability to earn more. That's your greatest asset.
And avoid those tempting get-rich-quick schemes if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. And finally, face your challenges. Crush procrastination. If you have debt, make a plan like that 70-20-10 and stick to it relentlessly.
These really are simple rules, aren't they?
Right.
Not complicated formulas, just fundamental truths about discipline and behavior.
Exactly. The Babylonians got rich not through magic, but because they understood and practiced these sound financial principles. They valued money and treated it with respect.
So as we finish up, here's something to think about. The people of Babylon built wealth and security through consistent action based on simple wisdom. Reflecting on everything we've discussed, the cures, the laws, the stories, what's one specific action, maybe even a small one, that you could take today, inspired by this ancient wisdom, to start building your own wall of protection and prosperity?